Okay, there's something that I have to get off my chest.
Oh no, not again.
No, not that. I want to talk about The Force Awakens. I know, I'm like 7 years late and everybody has discussed this movie to hell and back, but hindsight is 2020. And when this movie first came out, I actually enjoyed it, but over the years, I have come to resent this movie. Hello, welcome to the Movie Squib channel. I'm your host, Charlie, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm not going to be reviewing The Force Awakens. What I want to do is I want to list a couple of plot changes that I would make that would have not only made the first movie so much better, but it probably would have saved the entire trilogy.
Why is everyone so fucking stupid? Why aren't more people intelligent like me?
I'm no film expert. I don't have any type of knowledge of making a movie, and I totally understand that making a movie is very difficult and it is a very complicated process. But I'm just talking about simple changes to the script that would have made this movie so much better. Let's jump right into it. Let me just say that I'm not going to summarize The Force Awakens. The movie has been out for 7 years, and if you haven't seen it, good for you, I guess. But most likely, just about everybody who's watching this video has seen The Force Awakens, so you remember the plot, barely. And you know what happens in the movie, so I don't need to go over everything that happens in the movie. What I want to do is I just want to jump straight in to the plot points that I would like to fix. Now, let's start off with Finn. Is it me, or was Finn supposed to be the protagonist of this movie, and then halfway through production, they chickened out and decided to make Rey the protagonist of the entire trilogy? Am I going crazy? Because it feels like that to me. Finn was such an intriguing character, and he would have made a much better protagonist than Rey. And this has nothing to do with gender or race or anything like that. But we've been through a Jedi fighting another big bad Jedi Star Wars trilogy before. We've seen enough of it, and we don't need it again. Having Finn as the protagonist and the main focus of the Star Wars sequel trilogy would have made such a much more intriguing film or subsequent films. Let me just start off by saying you don't need to make Finn Force sensitive or even a Jedi. Just make him a normal, average human who was a part of the First Order and then just woke up, just decided that he's had enough of the killing and the brutality, and he changes and he just bails on them. And even though he should have died by the hands of Kylo Ren, a powerful Jedi, he makes it through and he's saved. Now, speaking of the First Order, we need to change a lot about the First Order. It was a big mistake to make the First Order as grand and as powerful as the former Empire. It makes absolutely no sense, first of all, but second of all, it kind of just demeans the original trilogy. Like, all that sacrifice, all that hard work that our heroes accomplished at the end of Return of the Jedi, and then we come into this movie, and all of it has been thrown in the trash. Oh my God, it's so stupid. It's just artificial drama inserted into the movie. It's artificial, it's a plot device. It's so stupid.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
But here's what I would have done. I would have made the First Order more like the rebels of the original trilogy. And the First Order should have just consisted of mercenaries and killers and bounty hunters, and make the First Order more like a cult. And that's where I come into the second point of the First Order. We don't need to have some shadowy group controlling the First Order. Make it Kylo Ren. Make it that this group is convinced that Kylo Ren is the second coming of Darth Vader, and that sticking with him and following him will lead to great riches and immense power. Kylo Ren is such an immense figure on his own. He's got the mask, he's got the Force. It would have been so much better if the First Order was made more into a cult where former Empire lovers and former followers of Vader joined him and decided to attack the New Republic. But instead, they just went with the exact same thing that we saw in New Hope. Every time I think about it, it boils my blood. And I didn't feel that way when the movie first came out. I was just like you. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was pretty decent. But as the years dragged on and the more I thought about it, I realized that the first movie was really flawed, and it led to the failure of the entire trilogy. So, we've got the First Order in the positions that the Rebels were in from the original trilogy. They're a smaller group. They have ships, they have firepower, but they're nothing compared against the New Republic. But they are causing massive amounts of damage, and they're causing massive amounts of loss of life. Now, I don't think I want to change too much about Kylo Ren, but oh boy, would I like to change a lot about the Knights of Ren. Why not make the Knights of Ren actual Jedis with lightsabers? Basically, Jedis that decided to bow down and follow him after he destroyed the Jedi Temple and defeated Luke Skywalker. Instead, they made them this group of, I don't know what the hell they are. They're not Force users. They're just like a ragtag group of mercenaries with gigantic blades. It's so fucking stupid.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
This is why? Why would you do that? You had such an amazing concept, and then it just fizzled. Ugh. Anyway, so Knights of Ren, make them Jedis, make them carry lightsabers, have them with different types of strengths and weaknesses. Maybe some of them carried a dual lightsaber or two lightsabers, or maybe one of them preferred to just use the Force at all times, but have a better focus on them. You had such a great concept and then you just let it go. Okay, let's move on to the original characters. When I initially saw Han Solo and Chewbacca and the Millennium Falcon, I was overjoyed. And now when I think about it, it just makes me so sad. They should have made these characters evolve and grow. And it felt like Han Solo devolved from the final film. You would have thought that by now he would be moving on, he would be a general, or he would be by Leia's side, or he would be a better person in general. And instead, he's wearing the exact same clothes, he lost his ship, and he's just basically doing nothing but small gigs. Oh my God, what a wasted opportunity. I would have loved to see Han Solo as a general, commanding, respected. I mean, this is the man who helped defeat the Empire, and everybody around him is just pretending like he's just nobody. Oh my God, it's so stupid.
Stupid!
It's artificial drama. Oh, so dumb. The same thing with Leia. They basically put her in the exact same role, except she's more in a military capacity, but she should have been a Jedi. She should have been embracing the Force. Why didn't they have more kids than Kylo Ren? I would imagine that they would have just kept having more kids. They loved each other so much. And yet, in this movie, they're separated. They haven't seen each other in years because of their son. They didn't move forward. They didn't heal. They just gave up on each other? Are you kidding me? So for me, I would have changed the original characters. I would have given them growth from the final movies that they were in. I would have made them better people, a little bit happier. Sure, they can be worried about the First Order, but you don't have to make them miserable fucking people. It's really upsetting when I think about it, and now that I think about it more, I'm just my blood is starting to boil. Just thinking about this movie makes my blood boil. As far as Luke is concerned, I would have definitely included him halfway through the movie. And again, I wouldn't have made him a miserable cunt. I would have made him a Jedi who lost everything but is trying to rebuild, is still helping people, has not given up. You know, you're talking about a guy who stopped his training with a Jedi Master to go save his friends. You're telling me that after the incident with Kylo that he would have just given up on everything else? Come on. This is that dark bullshit that J.J. Abrams and Alex Kurtzman and Kiva Goldsman inject into movies nowadays. It's artificial. It's fake. And I hate it.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
So we've done these changes. They're just small changes, but I bet you they're much better than what the original movie was. Now, let me get to a final part of my change, and that is to the main part of the story. Here is how I envision it in my head. So you've got Finn. He's a follower for the cult of the First Order. He's killed a few people already, and he decides that he's had enough. He tries to escape. He's saved by the New Republic. Now, he's taken in by Poe, and even though no one in the New Republic wants to trust him and no one wants anything to do with him, Poe ends up having faith in him. Over the course of the story, they're fighting the First Order. Now, we can have Rey as part of the story, but she's a side character, and basically what she is a Jedi who's trying to find herself, and she meets Han Solo, not the pathetic Han Solo that we see, but a general who sees something in her and decides to take her in and befriends her. And then she sees Kylo Ren killed that mentor to her, and that motivates her through the rest of the trilogy. She's not the main focus of the rest of the trilogy, but she will be the person who takes down Kylo Ren for killing Han Solo. It's perfect, it's beautiful, it's simplistic, and it works. Meanwhile, back at the main part of the story, you've got Finn working with Poe, and they infiltrate the First Order and they do some damage, but in the end, Poe is killed. The way Poe is killed is that he sacrifices himself for Finn. So while no one else gave a shit about Finn, while the New Republic wanted nothing to do with Finn, Poe had absolute faith and had a bond with Finn, and he sacrifices his life for him. And that is the catalyst for Finn to become something more than just someone who walked away from the First Order, to lead a group of ragtag soldiers or to lead an army against the First Order and destroy them once and for all. Don't you think that would have been a much better story than what we had? So in my head, I picture at the end, you've got Rey who's angry and she's starting to let the dark side take her over after watching Han Solo die at the hands of Kylo Ren. And Kylo Ren is not trying to recruit Rey, not yet anyway. Not until she actually goes into the dark side. She goes into the dark side in the second movie perhaps. And that's when Kylo tries to recruit her, only for Rey to completely reject him and still make it her priority to kill Kylo and destroy the First Order, but as a dark Jedi. And eventually in the third movie, she becomes a gray Jedi. She doesn't follow the ways of the Jedi. She doesn't follow the ways of the Sith. She just uses the Force and her skills the way she sees fit to help those around her. Now, as far as Finn goes, you've got Finn, who watches Poe die saving him. And at the end, as he sees the First Order escape while causing massive damage to either a planet or a large space station, you see Finn look out the window at the destruction, and you see a determination in his eyes, and he knows what he must do. He needs to follow in the footsteps of Poe and honor the man who believed in him, the man who sacrificed his life for him when no one else gave a shit about him. And so he takes the lead role and he becomes commander in the next movie. And he grows and he becomes a man of his own. And he finally takes down the First Order in the final movie when all hope is lost, when the First Order has gained some type of advantage. He comes out on top. And in the end, he honored those who have sacrificed their lives to take down this cult. As Rey is concerned, she does end up killing Kylo, and she does feel guilty for killing him, but she does kill him for what he has done to Han Solo. I don't know. Maybe my version of this movie is not something that you think would be good. Comment below. I'd love to know your thoughts. I genuinely want to know what you think. What would you change in the movie? I'm talking about small changes that could have made the movie better. And I'm not being sarcastic. I know we can say, how about not making the movie at all? Yeah, we could have did that too. But at the time, we wanted another Star Wars trilogy. Don't tell me that you didn't want a new Star Wars trilogy before they came out. Unfortunately, they were just a mess when they released. Those are just some small changes that I personally would implement. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you would change. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you can, hit the like and subscribe. Either way, I appreciate that you stuck around to the end. Thank you, and I hope to entertain you further soon.